Okay, well, in today's video, I want to talk about this concept of self-sabotage because, oh, well, look, I'll be honest, it comes up almost every time I have a chat to someone about their eating. And, you know, it's one of the most common questions I get asked, you know, why do I keep sabotaging my own progress? You know, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z, but yet, you know, I just keep doing this. And these things just keep making me feel bad about myself. You know, I keep overeating, I keep binge eating, I keep gaining weight. Why can't I just do some of the things that I want to do, and so I can step away from all this craziness with food? And so today I want to break that down and actually get to show you guys, you know, what might be happening and how we can maybe approach this a little differently. Rather than approach it with willpower, how else can we approach it? It's not really about trying harder, it's just about doing things differently. So that's what I want to do today. And this thing of self-sabotage, it kind of has many different faces, doesn't it? It can show up in many different ways. So for some people it might just be, the 4 o'clock afternoon snack, you know, the chocolate cookie or the muffin or whatever it is. You know, we just need a break of whatever towards the end of the day, and you know, food is a great way of doing that. So, but then you use that, you use food as a way of taking a break, but then you think, you know what, that wasn't a great decision. Why did I do that? You know, or it could be, you know, you're walking down the supermarket aisle and you see your favorite bag of chips on special. You know, it's a jumbo bag. So you grab a couple of them and throw them in the supermarket trolley. And then you're driving home, or you get home and you put them away and you think, why did I do that? You know, why did I buy that? Why did I buy that? You know, I'm trying to make the right choices. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to stay on plan. I go and do that. And we think about that as being, you know, we're sabotaging ourselves. You know, or sabotage, we might think that's, you know, getting home after work and then we're standing at the pantry door and we just see that box of Cadbury favourite chocolates, you know, those little mini bars, and we think, you know, I'll just have one of them. But one turns into 5, turns into 10, and before you know it, you're at the bottom of the box. And then you're going, oh, gee, why did I do that? Why did I do that? How did I do that? What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. What happened? And so you sort of say to yourself, well, you know, I've just blown it now. I might as well write the rest of the week off, the rest of the weekend off. I'll start again next week. You know, I'll start again next week. I'll get back on track. I'll get back on the wagon. Or, you know, maybe self-sabotage for you is letting your hair down on the weekend. You know, you invite some friends over and you have a few glasses of wine and you've got the cheese platter and you've got the crackers, and then that goes into a 2 or 3 course meal. And, you know, you go to bed just feeling so stuffed and so full and so gross. And you lie there thinking, oh, I've done it again. Why have I done it? Well, I'm still back in the same place I was last weekend. You know, I don't know why I keep doing it. And that's the thing about self-sabotage. When we think about it like that, we kind of think we're going against what we truly believe, what we truly want. Okay, and we think about it in terms of, I must be purposely sabotaging myself. It's a purposeful thing that I'm doing here. I'm deliberately going against what I want. And that's frustrating, right? And we just feel crap about ourselves because we just can't find our way out of that. So let's have a look at this concept and see what's actually going on in our brains, in our minds, to actually keep us locked up in some of these patterns. And I kind of always take the view that every choice we have, every choice we make, really is meeting some kind of need that we have in that moment. Okay, so I mean, that's how we live our lives. So we make choices, we do things that meet particular needs, wants and desires that we have. And that's human nature. You know, we all have needs, wants and desires, and we meet them in various ways. So let's use a very specific, a specific example that, you know, you may or may not specifically relate to, but you kind of might get the gist of what I'm talking about. So let's say you get home from work and you know, the kids are pestering you to help them with their homework or whatever it is. You walk into the kitchen and you see a sink full of dishes, you know, left over from breakfast or the night before. And, you know, you've got to think about dinner and you've got that on your mind. What am I cooking? I've got, you know, another 2 hours in the kitchen. And you think, oh, look, I just need 5 minutes to myself. I just need a break. I just need to chill out. Just give me 5 minutes of alone time, please. And so what's the need in that moment? What's the need that you want? So maybe the need is I need a break. Okay, I need a break. I need 5 minutes. I just need some alone time. I've had everyone all day at me. My boss has been on my back. I've had clients asking me this. I've had workmates demand this of me. Look, I just need to chill out for 5 minutes. And what's the best way to do it? In the moment when everything crazy is going on around you and the kids are doing this and you've got a long list of chores that you need to do. What's the quickest way? It's the food, isn't it? You go and eat something. That's the quickest way you know to get quick relief. Instant relief, instant pleasure, a bit of a pop of energy, or maybe it just chills you out, calms you down. Either way, you do get some benefit from eating. And that's the thing. It does actually satisfy the need quite well. Food can actually step in and fill that void, fill that need. It does it very well. And that's why it's such a good way in the moment of meeting whatever it is we think we need in that moment. It can actually fill a lot of voids. So you naturally do get a bit of relief. Okay? You feel calmer, or you feel more energized, or you just feel better instantly. It's pretty quick, right? And because you got some relief from eating, you've actually now, believe it or not, just created a habit cycle, because that's all the evidence your brain needs to say, hey, okay, well, that worked. You needed this relief. Food actually delivered it to you. So let's just wire this whole habit into your brain so that next time you're in the same situation again, you just automatically do it. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. And that's why your brain forms habits. Your brain forms habits because it's the most efficient way for it to function. Why, when you get home and you feel like this, should you have to always think about, what am I going to do? No, you don't think about it. You just go and grab something to eat. There is no thinking there, because there doesn't have to be. Your brain's wired it in as a habit. So now that's just how you respond whenever you're in that situation, whenever you're feeling like that, whenever there's a need like that needs to be met, food will meet it. It's met it in the past, so it'll meet it today. The beauty is it does. It keeps meeting that need in the short term. You get some quick relief, the habit's wired in. Problem is, when you repeat this enough times, not only do you get very good at it, it probably has some consequences that you don't like. Yeah. So maybe one of them might be you start gaining some weight, because if you're in an eating cycle, if you're meeting your some core needs through food, and you're not necessarily hungry at the time you do it, then yeah, you're probably going to gain weight. That's to be expected, yeah. But you're also probably going to feel pretty bad about yourself because you realize you're stuck in this cycle. So you get a bit frustrated and you go searching, okay, well, if I'm feeling a bit out of control with my eating, what's the best way I can get back in control? How do I get this back on track? And the most obvious solution, and this is what everyone tends to do, and for good reason, because this is what's promoted out there. You don't have to go very far to find the answers. The answer is, I need more control, so I need R&R. I need some rules and restriction. I need more rules and restriction around my eating. I need more structure. I need more control. I need more planning. I need a food plan. Okay, I need some rules to follow so that when I get home, I don't do that. I do this instead. Okay, this becomes, you're forcing yourself to make some different choices. That's what a diet is, or And you mightn't even be following a specific diet, okay? You don't have to be following Whole30, or you don't have to be following a low carb diet or a low fat diet or the Atkins diet or the CSIRO diet. You don't have to be following any specific diet. You just have to be thinking about putting more controls around your eating. So you start restricting things. Okay, well, I can't keep that chocolate in the house now. Oh, I'm not allowed to have it after work. I might have it after dinner, but after work, I've got to follow this plan. I've got to do this instead. So it certainly requires a bit of willpower. And for a period of time, you can do that. Okay, for a period of time, we can use our willpower to do almost anything. It works. So for a period of time, while you're following all the rules and restrictions, you've kind of stepped out of this cycle, which means, okay, you feel like you're getting back on track. And you are for a period of time. But the problem is you can't keep following rules and restrictions forever. Your brain and your body will rebel. And it will rebel by driving up cravings. Okay? Cravings get crazy. I mean, if you're restricting sugar a day later, a week later, a month later, at some point, that's all you'll ever be able to think about. And is sugar, okay? You'll be craving sugar or fat or salt or whatever it is, okay? The very foods you're telling yourself you can't have and you've been avoiding, they're the things you'll want even more. Eventually, this stuff doesn't work forever. Your body will rebel against it. And it'll send you messages. You'll start thinking about food more. And that's what this stuff does, right? If you're following rules and restrictions and planning more and cooking more new recipes and, you know, having to track your meals or log your food or whatever it is, if you're naturally thinking about food more. And if you're thinking about food more, it's only a matter of time before what? It'll drive you back to eating. So the more you restrict, the more rules and more control you put around your food, the more you end up thinking about it, the more cravings you experience. It just drives you back to the same behavior you're actually trying to step away from. So now you're back to square one because you realize, well, this didn't work and I've still got my initial habit just comes back. So now what happens? Well, now you start thinking things about yourself. You start thinking, well, gee, I clearly don't have enough willpower to beat this thing. There must be something wrong with me. I'm sabotaging myself all the time. I don't have enough self-control or discipline around food. I'm a sugar junkie. I'm a food addict. So you start labeling yourself and telling yourself these kind of stories about who you are and what all this means about you. And this is what I call, they're stories. Okay, we start telling ourselves stories. I don't have the willpower. I don't have the self-control. I don't have the discipline. I love junk food. I eat all the junk food. I'm a sugar addict, blah, blah, blah. So we tell ourselves about what all this means and we create stories for ourselves to make sense of it. Well, if I'm stuck in this cycle and I can't do this for very long, I must be a self-sabotager. Okay, we create stories. The problem is when we tell ourselves these stories, they just drive us back to the food. Because here's the thing, if I go around all day saying I'm a sugar addict, I'm a sugar addict, I'm a sugar addict, well, the next time I see some sugar or a chocolate bar, what am I going to do? I'm a sugar addict. Sugar addicts eat chocolate. There's chocolate, so I'll eat it. Do you see what I mean? The stories we tell ourselves, actually, we prove them right time and time again through our actions and behaviors. That's just the way the brain works. We always filter our choices and behaviors are always filtered through the stories we're telling ourselves and who we believe we are. So if I believe I'm a chocoholic, then the next time I see some chocolate, I'll eat it because I'm a chocoholic, and that's what chocoholics do. It's a bit like if you're a teacher, the moment you step into the classroom at school, you inhabit all the thoughts and behaviors of a teacher, okay? If you're a nurse, the moment you step into the clinic or the ward at the hospital, you inhabit all the thoughts and behaviors and actions of a nurse, okay? Because you have an identity of a nurse. If your identity is about being a sabotager, or about being weak-willed or no discipline or a chocoholic or a food addict or a binge eater, if you inhabit that identity, then any opportunity you have to do those things, you will do them. That's how our stories will prove themselves right time and time again. So here we go. So what's the sum total of all this? We've still got the original habit we created, who knows, years ago, okay? The very first moment we ate to get some relief or to meet a need, that was the moment we set up that cycle. And it could have been 5 years ago, it could have been 20 years ago, it could have been 30 years ago, it could have been when we were kids. It doesn't matter. When it started doesn't matter. What matters is today we've got it and it'll keep playing out. We can suspend it for a bit with rules and restriction, but again, that doesn't last forever either. Eventually, that just drives more cravings and drives us back into the very behaviors we're trying to avoid. But these behaviors, these eating behaviors, are also reinforced by the very stories we're telling ourselves about ourselves. And we just prove them right time and time again. And that's where the self-sabotaging story comes from. If we believe at our core we always sabotage ourselves, then guess what will happen? So the sum total of this is what? We're in this cycle, so we're gaining weight. We're in this cycle occasionally, and when we're in this cycle, we're just focused on the food all the time. And we're in this cycle, and it just makes us feel like crap because we're going around all day telling ourselves we're all these crappy stories. So the sum total is we're frustrated. We feel stuck. We feel guilty and ashamed. We can't step out of any of this stuff. We're anxious and obsessed around food. We have all these food-focused thoughts popping into our head all day, every day. It makes us feel depressed, desperate, lonely, okay? Because we probably don't share a lot of this with anybody. It's all internal. So now we've got a bunch of crappy feelings we're feeling every day. We're feeling the stress of all this. We're feeling the anxiety of all this around food. We're feeling the fear. We're feeling that this is a desperate situation and we don't know how to get out of it. We're feeling the guilt and the shame and the self-criticism and the hopelessness. And what does that do when you're feeling all those things? It just drives you back into more eating, doesn't it? It's yet another cycle. But of course, this cycle also adds another layer to the stories, because if we've got a bunch of these feelings, suddenly we're now an emotional eater, because these feelings are making me feel like crap and it's driving me to food. Oh, I must be a stress eater. I must be an emotional eater. Well, no, not really. You've just got a bunch of neural circuits that are driving you back to the same pattern time and time again. You're telling yourself you're an emotional eater because you've got all these emotions bubbling up. But you've only got these emotions bubbling up because you're stuck in some cycles, okay? The things that have caused those emotions are the cycles you're stuck in. See, the problem is when we've got all these difficult emotions and uncomfortable emotions showing up all the time, frustration, guilt, shame, self-blame, hopelessness, despair, anxiety, worry, fear, depression. The thing that's driving all that are these. But we go off searching for, how do I clear up all these uncomfortable emotions? Do I need therapy? I need a self-help? I need to go and, join a yoga retreat somewhere. I need to get a psychologist to help me sort out all these feelings. No, you just need the skills to be able to step out of these cycles. As soon as you step out of these cycles, as soon as you learn how to stop restricting, okay, can't be the only thing you do, because if that's the only thing you do, you'll keep gaining weight. You've got to be able to stop restricting and resorting to willpower and diets. We've got to get you out of these thinking loops that keep you identifying with the same labels. I'm a stress eater. I'm an emotional eater. I'm a binge eater. I'm a sugar addict. I'm hopeless. I'm weak-willed. I'm undisciplined. No, you've just got a bunch of story cycles and thought loops that you keep cycling through. We can step you out of them. Break the rules and restriction. Literally let them go. Step out of all these thinking loops that are talking you into the very behaviors you're trying to get away from. And let's rewire the original habit and meet the need in a different way. Once you can step out of these loops, you don't have the guilt, you don't have the shame, you don't have the frustration, you don't have all of those crappy emotions showing up for you anymore. You don't have the food-focused thinking. And suddenly you're not an emotional eater anymore because you just don't have those emotions. You don't have to go searching for solutions to those emotions because the solution is to step out of these cycles. Okay, so I mean, does that make sense? Have I kind of, this is kind of a top level view again of what might be going on. And if you'd like to get a bit more clarity around this yourself, then get in touch. These cycles show up slightly differently for everybody, okay? But this is kind of what I see the patterns in most people who identify with stress eating and emotional eating and binge eating and using more rules and restriction and applying more willpower and feeling crappy about myself all day. So these are the most common cycles that we see. And so if you'd like more clarity around any of this for yourself, like which cycles am I stuck in and how do I step out of them, then just go to breakfreenutrition.com/talk and book a call. And we'll get on the phone for about 60 minutes. I'll ask you some questions. I'll listen to what's going on. And then we'll break all this apart. We'll break all this down and I'll show you what's happening. I'll show you why you keep eating, resorting to food, overeating, binge eating, emotional eating, whatever it is. I'll show you how your own cycles are sort of making you do that time and time again. I'll give you the pieces you need to step out of them. I'll show you what the solution looks like for you specifically. And you'll walk away from that call with more clarity than you've ever had in your whole life. I have people tell me this all the time. They say, Martin, that's the most valuable 60 minutes I've ever spent thinking and working through my eating challenges. And that much I can guarantee. You will walk away from that call knowing exactly what's driving it and the pieces you're missing so that you can step out of all these cycles for good. So if you go to breakfreenutrition.com/talk, schedule a call, we'll get on the phone and we'll have a chat about all this. We'll have a deep dive into what's really going on. And for the first time, maybe ever, you'll be able to walk away having a bit more, not a bit more, a lot more clarity about what's really going on for you in your situation around food. So I hope that's been helpful. Drop me a comment down below as well and let me know if what part of this resonated with you. I'd really love to know. We'll go schedule a call. Okay, I'll catch you another time. Thanks for watching and bye for now.